This is The Fifth Estate, a conversation between young African scholars from the Footnotes School of Government and Professor Mutahi Ngunyi. This Sunday, we will send an urgent letter to President Uhuru Kenyatta with footnotes to Raila Odinga Amolo. We will argue that Jubilee is being too casual about NASA. But why do we say this? Niccolo Machiavelli taught us that those who live on the mountains have the best view of the valleys, and those who live in the valleys have the best view of the mountains. And because Uhuru and Raila live on the mountains, we must give them our view from the valleys. From where we sit in the valleys, Raila seems more prepared for the presidential race than Uhuru. To Raila Odinga, his NASA coronation of April 27th was more important than the coming August 8th election. He interpreted this to mean that the NASA tribes had already elected him president, and that August 8th is just a confirmation date. This is why our letter to President Uhuru is urgent.
Dear President Uhuru Kenyatta, Sir, you have our support at the Footnotes School of Government, and this is why we cannot lie to you. When our grandmothers read the Bible to us, they told us that an open rebuke is better than hidden love. We do not have the stature to rebuke a president, but we can tell you, sir, you look unprepared for the Raila onslaught. Mr. President, sir, Winston Churchill taught us that the only way to predict the future is to create it. Then Sun Tzu taught us that a victorious general wins first, then goes to war. But a defeated general goes to war first, then seeks victory in the fight. Mr. President, sir, have you predicted your future by creating it? Are you like Churchill, who said that history will be kind to me because I intend to write it? Are you prepared, sir? Will you let my generation down?
Is Raila more prepared than Uhuru? The answer to this is a resounding yes. But is Raila prepared for the right game? And the answer is a resounding no. Raila is prepared to play football, but Uhuru is prepared to play chess. If Raila is therefore more prepared than Uhuru, in my view, he's prepared for the wrong game. But put differently, Uhuru is fighting the Mau Mau war on Raila. He learned very well from his father. And the Mau Mau war was a war of deception. When strong, you are required to appear weak. And when prepared, you are supposed to appear unprepared. And when near, you are to appear distant. Now, this kind of war is a kind of war that Raila is not prepared for. In the face of Mau Mau tactics, Raila is a chocolate soldier. He will melt in the sun long before the war begins, in my view.
Mr. President, sir, you must now transit from the persona of President Kenyatta to candidate Kenyatta. William Ruto must also climb down from his position as Deputy President to that of running mate. This climb down will bring you from the mountains to the valleys. And while in the cold valleys of reality, you must entertain the thought that you might not see State House again. Mr. President, sir, the cold valley experience will do two things to you. One, it will focus you on 2017. The present, to focus on 2022 before 2017 is in the bag is to sabotage yourself, and you must bring William Ruto to order on this. 2. If you descend from the mountains to the valley, you will see the mountain with impeccable clarity, and what you will see is this: development does not sell. Each time you belt out development figures, we shut you out. And this is the cold fact.
Dear Mr. President, sir, there is one more thing. The Ferrari presidency of two people is a posh presidency. It is a posh creation of the Muzungus who wrote our constitution, and it is not tenable. On the other hand, the pro-box presidency proposed by NASA is more attractive. It accommodates everyone, including pickpockets and conmen. But having said that, sir, we know that Raila is cheating Kalonzo over the one-term presidency. We also know that he will not sell the Ferrari to buy a pro-box presidency. He will not pollute the presidency with the premier positions he has offered. Raila is too posh to reduce himself to a makanga and be a part of a matatu presidency. But we must give credit to Raila. He has mobilized pickpockets, conmen, and sinners to sell the NASA Pro Box. As for you, sir, you are selling Jubilee as a two-man affair. Where is Najib Balala, Kalem Bendile, Fred Gumo, and others? Apart from Ruto, where are your troops, sir?
Uhuru's development record speaks so loud there is no point describing it to us. Uhuru should therefore drop his serious presidential face and put on his charming political character for the next 90 days. Similarly, Ruto should stop talking about development figures as well. He needs to activate his humor because Ruto has a God-given gift of abusing his opponents nicely. Let us hear more of this and less of numbers. And a good starting point, in my view, is to expose the Matatu presidency proposed by NASA as a big fat joke. For starters, the one-term presidency is a lie. Raila will run for a second term. You can take that to the bank. And similarly, there will be no constitutional change, in my view. Instead, Raila will betray the Pentagon, because if he did it when he was Prime Minister, he will be even more cruel if we make him president. These are things that will come to pass, in my view. And no one can expose them better than William Ruto.
Dear Mr. President, sir, this is the first footnote Raila is reading. He does not see you as a challenge at all. His main challenge was the NASA endorsement. The day he was coronated by NASA is the day he got elected president. Now, he sees himself as president-elect. But there's one more thing. If he's not elected president, he will force another grand coalition government. And he will do this by making the country ungovernable. First, he will claim that the election was stolen. Then he will announce himself the winner from his secret tallying center. Following the announcement, he will ask the people on the streets to reach a verdict. And the people will coronate him president. At zero option, Mr. President, sir, you will have to negotiate with this madness. We write to you, therefore, because you are where Kibaki was in 2007. He was busy building roads and talking development as Raila secretly stole the government from him.
Dear Mr. President, sir, this is the second footnote Raila is reading. Sir, in his imagined status as president-elect, Raila has convinced himself that he is the biblical Joshua who will take us to Canaan in the next 90 days. Although we have nothing to say about his Canaan fantasy, we can confirm the following to Engineer Odinga. Dear Engineer Raila Odinga Amolo, sir, you are not Joshua, and you do not even resemble him in any way or form. You used to be Moses, not Joshua. That is why we sent you to the house of Pharaoh to declare and proclaim the following: let my people go. But in the house of Pharaoh, Pharaoh convinced you to share power with him 50-50. And you agreed. This was in 2007. And if the country has not yet reached Canaan, it is because you mortgaged your morality to Pharaoh for a 50% share in government. In sum, a failed Moses of 2007 cannot be recycled to a Joshua in 2017.
Dear Mr. President, sir, this is the third footnote Raila is reading. Raila sees himself as a long-distance runner and thinks of you as a mere sprinter. If he has run for 4 years, giving you dramas every day, Raila believes he's on the final stretch. And on this stretch, he is convinced that he will tire you. Here is the plan. Raila is not interested in winning the presidency, round one. His interest is in a long-distance race where he wants a runoff. If he gets a runoff, sir, your presidency will be in danger. But there is one more thing. When Raila is weak, he is strong. And when Raila is strong, he is weak. Currently, Raila is strong. And because of this, he is actually weak. The best time to disorganize him, sir, is now. Do not wait for him to grow weak. A weak Raila will be a powerful Raila. Avoid this, sir.